Let's call this meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. Let's start with Mr. Sharp. What have you got for us today, Mike?
A few things. First one is, this is for our, sending out for our bids, for our yearly bids for 2025. So we'll cover asphalt, stone, culvert pipes, fuel for the highway and fuel for the downtown vehicles. So as long as it works in your schedule, I think I had the intent of opening bids on December 11th at 10 a.m.
Okay,
If that works.
should work.
And then that way we can review them, and then the following week, we can accept the bids there and get them in before Christmas holiday.
Okay,
So if you're in agreement with that, then I think the last page is where you guys will sign it.
all right. Any questions?
Make a motion for approval.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
This next one, and this is a copy, and I've got an original, that way you can keep a copy.
Just the original.
So this is a request on some transfers.
Okay,
The one that's not stapled is the one that you sign if you're in agreement. So the first one would be transferring from highway employee salaries, basically $15,000, and overtime $10,000, and transfer to retirement of $25,000. We're gonna run short in that fund.
okay,
It didn't get increased after the salaries were set. For the budget, they've never increased the retirement. So I think this will get that fund as we get closer. We may have to transfer a little bit more, but we'll know when time comes as we get closer to December. And then
are you taking this to council tonight?
I
or-
hope to, yes.
Okay,
If you guys sign up first.
yes, yeah. That would be important.
Yes. And then the second one would be transferring $5,000 from seasonal help to Social Security for the same reason. We're gonna run short and not have enough to pay out for the full year on that.
Okay.
And then the third one would be, from stone and gravel, transfer $4,000 into rent equipment. We rented we're working on renting it's a grinder that right now we're gonna rent it on an excavator. What my hopes is if it works out and does what we think it will do, it would be something that would mount onto a grade all. And then some of the areas we wouldn't do in like yards and stuff, but it's kind of a grinder. I don't know if you've seen them on states and so forth, where you can actually take and grind a tree, not a huge tree, but a tree down and kind of get behind the guardrails. You can kind of get the sides of the roads pushed back. Now we do hand cutting, so that takes a lot of labor. Where we can, some areas, and you get into that honeysuckle and stuff like that. I mean, you got that, and it just goes back quick. So if this would work out, I've got some prices on some new ones, but I want to see how this works and if we like it. So I want to just rent it for a week to see how it works before we actually buy the machine. I think it's around $35,000 to buy it.
Okay.
So I don't want to buy it and then it doesn't do what we think it will do. So this would just be transferring money to where we can rent that piece of equipment and try it.
Questions?
Nope, I'll make a motion to approve, subject to council's sign off on these transfers for all, 1, 2, 3 transfers.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And this just requires my signature. What else, Mike?
And just bring you up to speed on the ARPA funds.
Okay, good.
I try to make this as simple as possible, but to where it would make sense to you guys. So if it doesn't, then we can rework some of the figures and I'll try to explain them. But from my standpoint, what I know and then what you know is different. So hopefully this will make sense. So for the fuel tanks, the removal and replacement of that, the estimated total cost of that project was $585,225. It was approved to do $500,000 in ARPA funds.
Right.
And then there's an IDEM reimbursement for the removal of them, which should be around $31,000. We probably won't receive that money though, so you gotta pay that up front. And the reimbursement will come back in probably next year at some point in time.
Okay.
So the projected shortfall was $54,225. To date, in that project, we spent $433,441.30. So we have $66,558.70 remaining from that $500,000. So the projected cost to complete the project, we've got some asphalt resurface that we've bought and it hasn't been paid yet, but it's around $5,500. And then the remaining alternative bid jobs. So in that bid that we did, there was some that we pulled out that we were going to do the work on that. It was some concrete and putting some bollards up around the tanks and so forth. So that cost to complete that is $2,117.16. We've got a little concrete left. They're still working on getting the wires pulled for around the generator tank pad. So I got a concrete, I still got to finish that yet. The other two prices they're already done, or bought. The concrete has not been bought yet. I'm waiting for them to get their wire pulled so I can finish that part of it up, but should be a little less than $2,500. And then the bidder, A-Hope, who had got the bid, we still owe them $95,770 once they get everything completed and we do the walkthrough and all that. So the remaining ARPA funds needed would be $105,887.16. So we have a shortfall of $39,320.46.
That includes the $31,000 that we paid up front, or is that with the reimbursement taken?
That's with the $31,000. So the $31,000 will come in later.
Okay.
So technically, we have a $8,000 shortfall, but
We have to
we
pay
have
it
to pay up that $31,000 up front.
How's that work on ARPA funds if we reimbursed for something that we paid? Are we good then?
It depends on the sequence, but the issue here, we gave you 500,000. The total cost is gonna be what, 585,000?
Yeah, roughly estimated, yes.
Okay. I'm not following something here, Mike.
Okay,
So if the
if
total
you want to go
cost-
to the next project, and then that may make more sense.
Okay, let's go to that next page.
So the next project line item, they set aside $300,000 in ARPA funds.
Right,
So we had the AC unit in the main building that has been completed. The calcium chloride tank, we still have $68,860 to the tank. I believe it's supposed to be delivered Friday. So that bill will come in. That's kind of the bill of the tank and have it set. So that bill will be coming in probably next week because they're going to set the tank on Friday. The painting of the exterior of the building, We spent $30,400 on that. The fuel tank shortfall, which we had $54,225, we've already spent $39,321.50 from this fund from the fuel tank. So that's why I think when you looked at the fuel tank, it didn't quite match up. We've already spent $39,000 out of this ARPA fund on the fuel tank project. And then the electric, so this one got added in. There's a electric line that ran out to between the two pole barns. The pole was rotten, and the only thing that was holding up was the conduit that was bringing electric out. And I don't know why they ran the electric this way anyway, but to fix that, we dug the hole, and then I had an electric company come in. They ran wire and conduit back to the pole barn, and then run the other pole barn, made a transfer switch, so we basically eliminate that pole. A new power pole is $3,000. So if we bought a new pole to put in there and left everything there, but this way you get over an overhead line, eliminate that so trucks don't hit it, and then you get rid of a pole that's kind of in between the two barns.
Okay.
So the total funds in that we spent to date is $80,035.50. We still have $111,000, a little over that, yet to complete, to finish the projects. If we would transfer the short fund from the fuel tank shortage, that $39,320.46, if we bring it over to this fund and pay it out of that ARPA fund, then funds spent to date was $80,000, so we have $219,964.50 left to use out of the $300,000 so far, and then the $111,188.46. If we use that to complete all the projects, there'll be roughly $108,776.04 left that we will not be using from our funds. That would revert back to wherever you guys decide.
But that's if you pay the entire cost of the fuel tank.
If we bring the $39,000 from that we're gonna run short on the fuel tanks over to this fund, yes.
Okay. And if you don't, then there'll be $147,000 left.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, that was the original intent, was that we would pay $500,000 out of that price. So we've got a lot of other projects that need to be paid for. I'm not saying what we'll do at this point, but we need to work with council on exactly how we're going to allocate those funds, and a couple of.
And these numbers are pretty close to being where they're gonna be at. I mean, I don't have any other projects projected out.
You're within $1,000 to knowing with certainty. Okay.
Or less.
Okay. Good.
Well, this is good to know, but
Absolutely.
we've got to make some decisions.
I mean, well,
quickly.
all the bills and everything, we should have everything completed by the, first part of December. So
Okay.
you'll have time to know the actual dollar amount to be able to put it whatever location you
And
want to put it for the extra.
If push comes to shove, I assume that you can pay for this out of the highway fund,
Yeah, we'll have to transfer some monies around somewhere, but yeah,
but
we'll
you'll
try.
be able to. Okay. We'll
But we don't want to.
keep in touch. I got that sense, Mike.
Really?
I thought it was nice. We're giving $108,000 back,
It's very nice.
For you guys
We
to
have
pay.
a
Not as nice as
$3.2
You
million
pay the extra
project.
$39,000, that would. You pay $39,000, I give you $109,000 back. That's.
Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
What else have
It's
you
that
got?
new math, isn't it?
So we wanted to talk about with Brandon. We wanted to talk about the fairgrounds parking lots.
Good. Now, if you can do this for $6, we probably have some money left over for you.
Yeah. Don't hold your breath.
I'm not.
Steve, I take it you worked with them on this? You haven't seen this?
It's the first I've seen it.
So this is kind of this is, if you read the map, where you can kind of see where the, I don't know the name of the building.
The First Bank
Richmond
Expo Hall.
There you go. So that would be to the one side of the page, and then the cattle barns and sheep barn would kind of be on the other side of the page. But this is kind of what we're proposing as far as a parking lot would go. I think there's 95 spaces that would be put in here. This kind of lines things up. The one thing we're trying to look at is drainage.
Right.
So the two islands in the center of the parking lot, kind of what our thoughts are is to run them down and kind of make a ditch to where the water would shed off the pavement, run into those islands, and then it would run to the east. There's currently a tile kind of run along that roadway there on the east side of that. Pretty good chance that's going to have to be upgraded to be able to handle all the water, and that would have to change out. There's 3 electrical poles that we would have to move. And I got a price on that. I think it was around $17,000 on that part for Burns to move the electric poles. But I just found out yesterday, which we pulled from what somebody did the utilities out there, but I just found out yesterday there's an electric line running underground going through this area and a partial water line that may be in this area too. So we don't really have a lot of good figures on that part of it.
Okay.
From that standpoint. But I think this would kind of break it up a little bit. You think about running your electric underground and so forth, but then you don't have poles out there to light the parking lot up. And somewhere down the road, I'm not saying it would have to be part of this, but you may want to look at a different lighting system or whatever.
Sure.
The poles that would replace, I got a price of putting new poles in. Those poles, we could reuse those. You could save a little money, but then in 5 years, if they break down, I forget, the one pole was, that fell in the wind or something, I think you had not too long ago. I forget the cost on it, but I mean, you're $3,000 a pole.
Right.
So to me, if they're gonna move it, it's gonna cost you more if the pole breaks and they have to come back out and do all that type of work. So we thought the poles that we got to, this also keeps the statue, or I don't know what you want to call that, tree carving.
Yeah.
That would be in one of those island areas,
Is that
so
that
it
little
would not have to
box?
be moved.
Is
It's
that-
in a square box,
Okay.
Yeah,
down
about
here.
5 feet off the edge.
Okay.
so that would not have to be moved at all. There is some trees up to the north end that would have to be taken out.
Right.
If you kind of decide to go with this plan, and we got some cost figures, but kind of the running of it, what my thought would be is to start on it like this winter, to get some of the excavation done, the poles moved or what we need on that area, kind of get this put in place, the tile ran, but leave that, not do actually any asphalt paving on it and leave it in gravel. And then probably like next fall, that way you let all that traffic kind of compact it down and get it good. And then next fall, go in there and do the paving, actual paving of it.
Have you figured
Rough prices.
just on the dirt work and the paving?
We've got material cost, some material cost.
Yeah, just to back up just a little bit, just the concept behind this was to try to keep this middle parking area, the driving lane to line up with that loading dock. That way they can pull all the way through. You can kind of see, it's kind of a white line, the secondary gravel road, it's like an L shape. They're on the aerial photos, that they're it's a really tight turn to try to turn out and go north, a lot of rutting of trailers and whatnot. So that was the intent, was to keep this in line with the loading dock. And then the south parking strip would be in line with that road between the cattle barns. And then the north one was just to keep it away from that statue. So for this entire area is about 1.2 acres. And material costs for the pavement and the stone, we're looking at a budget number of about 125,000 for that. And of course, that doesn't include any of the storm, cutting into swales and stuff like that. So at this time.
Just material cost. Any estimate at all on labor and,
Haven't done a lot of figuring. Depending on how you want to work it. I mean, if we're doing a lot of the work and so forth, I mean, how you want to.
right?
We're not contractors, so I don't have a little book. I say, okay, well, you move 2 cubic yards, you charge X dollars. So, I mean, we'll have to do some figuring in on that, but it depends on how you want to.
I mean, I would
To
think,
me, I don't know if you set something like a figure on 200,000 and then something can be changed. You know, I don't know how the whole process.
yeah,
That if the material costs go up, then
that
labor
changes everything.
goes down,
Okay,
or you know, depending on how you want to do it. I mean, to me, and if we can do this and get a lot of this done in the wintertime, I mean, you're not pulling a lot of weight down from what we're doing out on the roads per se. The second one, or do you have any other questions on that parking lot?
I just had a question, so, and I think you said it, but I missed it. The south area wiring between where you have the existing the parking lot now and the road, how come you didn't include that into parking lot? Because everybody parks there anyhow.
On the south or north?
Yeah, like right here on this section here.
That's
Because the road comes through here, right?
at the north.
No, you got north marked up this
Yeah, the
way.
north arrow's upside down.
yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I'm like,
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, south is the top of the,
okay, I'm like, something isn't right. Makes sense to me now.
I don't have
Then.
an arrow on mine.
My mistake.
So you're talking the north end, where the
Yeah,
trees
never
are.
mind, because you have it. This would be the north end, the back side of the building.
Okay.
This is the front.
Yes.
The road's up
Yeah,
here.
okay.
Here you didn't want to because you have most of those trees. I'm
Trees
assuming.
and so forth. I think on the south end, from my understanding, they want to leave it more open for campers and
Right,
that
yeah,
type
right.
of things.
Yeah. That's all the question I have.
I mean, the drawing, this is kind of the area
this is
we
the
were
front
given.
of the building. This is the front of it.
Well, that's what I thought. So the north is wrong.
Yeah, the north
Yeah,
arrow
it
is wrong, so.
It is, so this is the north end where the entryway, the main entrance, and now there's a little parking lot.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I was like, well, that's not
That's
north
that.
then.
No, it's,
That's my mistake.
So why, okay, back to my original question then, why are you not doing that parking lot
On the north?
on the north end, which would be the front side
going farther,
Yeah.
going farther
To
towards
the
the
road.
gazebo,
towards the road and,
and I think,
because everybody parks there anyhow, because they walk right across.
yeah, I think one of the issues was how many trees do you need to take down?
Is that there's more, well, there's not many,
There's about 4 trees on this current plan that would have to come out.
And are there's only 2 or 3 more?
There'd
that
be
are shown,
3
aren't
more
there?
or so. This was the area you give us to
Yeah.
look
and-
at, so that's why we figured this
And
area.
one of Steve's concerns, I think, was how many trees can you save? Since that time, I've looked and all of those trees have dead tops, and I'm not sure whether there's much to be saved.
yeah, we looked at them and.
So,
Another plus having
About
these grass islands in the middle is you could use that area for landscaping and whatnot for
exactly.
new trees.
Yeah, because we're wanting to make the ditch basically to be able, so people don't park in that grass area. People aren't driving through the grass area. There's gonna be a ditch in that area, so I don't think you're gonna have a lot of.
Would you do the same thing on that front then? Have a grass area or a ditch through there?
on
Because
the
they
north.
park there all the time anyhow. I mean, they park
Yeah,
everywhere.
it's grass
If you don't make it
currently.
where they can't park.
I
they
mean, the
can park.
gravel, where that gravel drive is, it would actually come out. There's a gravel drive off that main drive between that building and
Right,
the Coleman
right,
building.
right.
So it would take that out because it would go nowhere per se. So that gravel would be removed. You know, it's up to you whether you want to move it to the, you know, that's your guys'
If
call.
we added another 15 or 20 parking spaces across there, I think there's
You
probably.
might get in some more utilities up in that area too. That's, you know, I think there's some more underground utilities because it's running from kind of the Coleman building over to whatever building that's called. I won't say the other name, but
The First Bank, Richmond,
okay. But you run into more underground utilities, I think, the farther north you go.
okay, fair enough. We'll need to make a decision. My personal opinion is we probably need to move those ARPA dollars allocated for this to one of the other projects and replace that funding at some point, whether it's this year or next year.
Yeah, because we're not gonna get it done.
No, I don't think we will. So, so we'll keep you posted, but this is very helpful, and I appreciate it.
And I have ran it by the people out at the fairgrounds to see if they seen any issues with it, if that thought that would work and so forth, and they were in agreement with it also.
Okay, good. And the drainage, you think, are there significant issues other than perhaps replacing that pipe, which could be very significant? The rest of it, you think, is taken care of with this plan so that the drainage coming off of the parking area would go into that?
Yeah, so like Mike said before, you've got a drainage tile that kind of runs on just the west side of that east road, north and south. And there are several catch basins in there. Really just moving those to the center, if you put the new line in and then having the watershed all drain to those catch basins, that should improve the drainage in that area.
I want to say there's like a 2.5 foot drop from the south into the parking lot or north, depending on which map you look at, to the detention pond.
Okay,
I think it was, wasn't it? Like 2.5 feet.
so
of a
from
drop.
north to south, there's
So we should have enough fall to be able to get a tile
just
running.
gravity fed.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, thank you very much.
No, we're done.
I think he proposed a second parking lot
Yes, across the street.
across the street. So, kind of, and this is an older map, and this was for me, so the numbers, it's not a perfect map. This was a map that I kind of worked up a few years back. My suggestion is, instead of doing the parking lot across the street, would be to go in and take a look at these roads that are currently there and paved, and redo pavement on those. I think you're gonna get more use. I question how much use that parking lot across the street is gonna get. If it will get 3 times a year or 4 times a year, yeah, I might get some use, but how much you will gain by having your roads paved and brought back up to par within the fairgrounds rather than putting the money into a parking lot across the road. So we haven't really done figures, but you're gonna be fairly close to figures on the parking lot across the road is what this parking lot would be, just for rough figuring. But if you do kind of where and I've got different numbers, cause I got, it gets kind of, my map's bigger and I made a copy. But, basically, if you were to do
Which direction is north?
number 13,
Okay.
number 13 would be on the north side. So the gravel I would leave as gravel. In between, which would be number 11, in between the sheep barn and the hog barn, I talked to Steve before, the pavement's really bad, it doesn't get sunlight, it's deteriorated pretty bad. My suggestion is to put that into concrete instead of actual pavement, because I think the pavement's gonna fail again. Number 15, which is kind of on the east side of the Coleman Center, that's already been concreted. We concreted that some years ago, so nothing would have to be done to that. And then number 3, which is the entrance coming off of Northwest L Street, the long road that kind of goes from Northwest L to the railroad track. That road we built, I can't remember what year, but it is in pretty decent shape. It doesn't get a lot of traffic. If anything, we could take a look at maybe putting a chip and seal on it or something like that. So basically it'd be the rest of the roads, putting concrete in the 1, not doing anything in the 11, putting concrete or not doing anything to 15 and not doing anything to 3. So rough cost on that, and this would be for material. I had about $192,000 to basically put 1.5 inches of asphalt surface on all those. I just added 10% just because I don't know what prices are going to do. Hopefully they will go down. But that puts you at 211,000. If you take number 3 off, that just number 3 is $36,526 to put 1.5 inches on that. So that would bring you down to $175,000.
And you think that that drive is in good enough shape that it wouldn't have to be repaved yet?
Right.
Okay.
Some of the other ones, I mean, we've done some patch paving here and there and just get by, but if you go out and look at some of these roads, they're in pretty poor shape. So my opinion is to look at, you know, the people that you're bringing into the fairgrounds and stuff, they're on the fairgrounds, and you're going to get more notice of the road you have on the fairgrounds than the parking lot across the street. You know, if you got to, you can still park in the grass like they do now, but I think more people are going to be on the actual fairgrounds, and I think it would make more sense to bring these roads up to speed rather than worrying about the parking lot across the road. So that's just an opinion of mine, so
Sure.
you guys tell us kind of what direction you want to go.
Yeah, I think we need to meet with the Fair Board group and get their opinion on this.
I agree. The Fairgrounds Committee.
Yeah, Fairground.
Okay, thanks.
Because I like this idea, but I just know parking is a major issue when we have big events out there. So.
Well, and I
And I
don't,
agree with you that that parking lot across Salisbury, you know, I don't know how much it would be used, but I know when they have big events out there that
There's not enough parking.
there's not enough parking. So we're
Okay.
trying to
they
solve
always
the
find a
problem.
place to park.
Oh, yeah, they find it.
They do.
But the roads need to be, even if we build the parking lot across the street, I think some point in time you need to think about putting money aside to looking at the roads and maintaining what we have already currently.
Understood. Thank you.
That's all we have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Brandon, you've got something on a bridge change order,
Yes.
but before we do that, let me take a couple of minutes and switch gears here. We have had a vacancy in our Veteran Service Office for a few months now. We have had interviews last week, and I think we're in a position to make a decision today. But before we do that, we happen to have Joe DeVito here, who's with the State Department of Veterans Affairs. Joe, could you come up? Thanks for being here today. I wanted to give you a couple of minutes to talk about the Department of Veterans Affairs, and in particular for the television audience to give some ideas of what services are available and how people can best access those.
Absolutely. So I'm Joe DeVito. I'm the Outreach and Communications Director with the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs. So that's the State Department of Veterans Affairs, separate from the federal VA. Every state and territory has a Department of Veterans Affairs. We all work really well together and closely together through a few different organizations. One of the things that we do here, of the many things we do at the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, is we have a really great partnership and working relationship with our county veteran service officers. So the Indiana County Veteran Service Officers are each individually employed by the county themselves. They have some code ties and other and connections with the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, so we support them in quite a few ways. One of the main things is for all Indiana County Veteran Service Officers, by code, they need to be accredited through an accrediting body with the VA within 1 year of hire and maintain that accreditation. So the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs is an accrediting body, so we actually will work with all new and existing service officers to work them through what's called TRIP training, through the process of passing all the exams and becoming accredited. Once we have the ability to accredit them, we have cross-accreditation agreements with the American Legion, VFW, and DAV, which are the important organizations where claims get filed through. And we also provide other support to the offices as well, with 6 district service officers who live in their districts and provide a lot of support to those offices with any training. We also provide free to every county a VetraSpec claims management system we use statewide. I think we're at 91, potentially 92 counties fully using VetraSpec. And I think we're all 92 accredited up until this, well, 91 at the moment. So, you know, it's a great relationship where we support, and we do that because even with all of our marketing materials and messaging to the whole Indiana veteran community is we say you have a local expert, and that's your county veteran service officer. So we drive veterans and their family members to those CVSO offices and to get that local, someone right in their area to bring them that expertise on all state and federal benefits. The main federal benefits we look at are service-connected disability claims. Those are disability, disease, or disorder that was incurred by or made worse by your military service. Those are really important claims on the county level for sure. What it equates to for every service-connected disability claim, it's provided in a tax-free benefit to that veteran or that family member. So those are tax-free dollars that are direct deposited based on a scale of percentages and how that money comes in. But it's tens of millions of dollars of tax-free dollars that come right into the community. So one of the great things that service officers can do is do the outreach and make sure that the community is all aware of those benefits. Currently, Indiana sits like all other states in the country where about 45% of all veterans are eligible for some sort of federal benefit, and only half of that population is accessing those benefits. So we're all looking for that other half. So anyone who knows a veteran, lives with a veteran, friends with a veteran, or works with a veteran, tell them to go see their county veteran service officer. Those benefits are there. They're there for the, you know, go get the ones they deserve, and there's a lot of folks not getting that. So then there's also the state benefits. The state of Indiana offers quite a few really great benefits for veterans and their family members. Some of the ones we just want folks to know about are, our remission of tuition and fees. So depending on when you entered service, anyone who entered service prior to 2012 and has a service-connected disability rating with the VA of any sort, if they've lived in Indiana at any point in their life for 5 years and their child is eligible for in-state tuition, meaning they're a resident, then they can apply their senior year of high school for that program, and that's 100% remission of all tuition and fees to IU, Ball State, Purdue, Indiana State, Ivy Tech campuses, and a few others. So that's just one way of property tax abatements for veterans in the state as well.
That's a great benefit.
There is a lot of benefits, and it's just really important. The outreach is the big part, is making sure we're driving folks to those offices. We have a federal benefit called dependency indemnity compensation. That's a benefit for surviving spouses, but there's a large number of surviving spouses, especially of Vietnam veterans, who are eligible for this benefit and don't know it. So that's one of those things we want to make sure we're driving them to those benefits, and that benefits $1,700 a month in free health care. So there's a lot of things out there, and it's the importance of that office. So I think it's great that you guys are getting the position filled.
So our office has been open, but we've had two part-time positions for the last few years. We were down to one, and we're still open. The office is open, but last week we had interviews to fill the second position. I want to just remind folks that we have a partnership with the City of Richmond. The City of Richmond funds one of those positions, and the county funds the other, so that we can provide 40-hour a week, in excess of 40 hours a week of service. So if you have questions, we're getting close to filling that position. I will say that when the commissioners fill a position, we are a board of three, where we go into executive session to interview folks, and we did that last Friday. To make a decision, we need to be in a public meeting, and a majority vote of the commissioners is required to make that decision. So we are going to hopefully fill that position today, or at least select the top candidate, and we'll go through the rest of the onboarding process. We are going to refer to those folks that we interviewed by number, because at this point, we don't know who's going to be selected, and we don't want anyone who was not selected to find out by seeing this on television until we've had a chance to communicate with them. So I will say that we had great candidates. We're very appreciative of people's interest. We actually had 5 interviews set up, and Brad, are you ready to make a recommendation?
I am.
Discuss
I
this?
just would like to say, we had very good candidates. It was a
Absolutely.
very tough decision. As a veteran myself, I don't like not picking, if I could hire all of them, I would. Let's put it that way. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to extend an offer to candidate or interviewee number 2.
Okay.
And reach out to that person and see if they will accept the
We'll
position.
have HR reach out to them. Again, we had 5, we actually had 7 quality applicants and chose to interview 5 of them. Very good people, very committed to providing service for veterans, which was, it was just great to hear. And most of them are already doing that in some voluntary capacity, which is also great. So we encourage them to continue that. But I would concur that candidate number 2 was, I thought, the best
By far.
candidate. And so you made a motion.
I'll make that
I will-
motion.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will instruct the Human Resources Office then to reach out to candidate number 2, and we'll move forward with the rest of the process. So,
And
Joe,
thank you, sir, for
thank you
what
very
you do
much.
for all the veterans
absolutely.
and attending our meeting. And
Much appreciated.
You're welcome in Wayne County anytime.
I live here, so.
So much better.
Thank you.
You loved it so much you moved here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You guys
Thanks
have
a
a
lot,
great day.
Joe.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for being here. Okay. Brandon, sorry, come back to you. Bridge change order. Is this another no-cost change order?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, man, you had a streak going. You had a streak going.
So what you have before you is a change order number 3. It is for the additional masonry coating, basically the paint. I know a while back we discussed the additional patching that was needed for the project. Just a quick summary, NDOT has agreed to provide an 80% match of that change order. We're still working through the final numbers on that. This is a portion of that cost amount. So more or less, this is just running through the paperwork to get to that final number. This specifically is for the masonry coating, which is a paint that we put on after the patch has been installed. So since the patching area has increased, the masonry coating area has increased as well. So I would recommend approval of that change order.
So the increase again is $47,111.69,
Correct.
and we'll get 80% of that back, but we've got to pay it first.
Correct, yes.
So it's a reimbursable expense.
And it does require just the president to sign.
Okay,
move for approval.
I will second that motion. Again, this is on Bridge 701, the G Street Bridge, an increase of $47,111.69. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. What else?
Okay. The second item in your packet is the NDOT LPA contract for Bridge 511, Mulberry Street there in Cambridge City. Last month, you guys approved the LPA consultant contract. So this contract is just our reimbursement contract with NDOT. and it has the 80% funding reimbursement within this contract. It's standard boilerplate contract. So I would recommend that to be signed through DocuSign, and I believe it's just the president to sign that as well.
Through DocuSign? So is this one that I've already received?
I think you've already received it.
Okay, and we're just waiting to discuss it today before I signed off. Ron, is the standard form and,
I don't argue with NDOT.
okay. Especially if they offer money.
Yeah,
Usually
we're
there's
good.
money connected with it.
Okay, so you don't need this signed, I just need to go into the DocuSign and sign that.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Just move
Um,
approval.
This
Yeah, move for
is
approval on that with the president's signature on DocuSign.
contract number 89253 with a whole bunch of zeros in front of it.
Bobby will get the motion
So
right.
you've made the motion, I will second the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you for that. And the last thing, long time overdue, we are finally to a point where we are ready to accept the roads in the Eagle Trace subdivision.
Okay.
It was paved back in 2022, just waiting on the detention basin to be constructed. We've been in talks with Richmond. Richmond has accepted the construction of that. Me and Mike have accepted the overlay that was placed on those roads back in 2022. We currently have a 3-year maintenance bond, and I did receive that back in 2022. So we are ready to present the certification for road construction to the commissioners for approval to accept those roads into our system.
They'll have to sign off on the plat of the subdivision too.
Yes, the plat was recorded on Monday, and on your form, it should list the instrument number for that.
So that's this form.
Correct, yeah.
And so everything that needs to be done will be done with the signing of this document?
I haven't seen the other documents have been signed, but
Got an extra one if you want.
I mean, the plat itself has been signed by,
Want this to become the next Clyde Moberly Road.
Right, we want to make sure that everything meets county specs and,
So do we need
we're
to
relying
give,
upon
we need
Yeah.
to
Brandon
give you
to
a
tell us
chance?
that, and if Mike were here, I assume
But
he
in
would.
terms of the paperwork, do you need to review them before we take action?
It's been long enough in the process, I'm pretty sure.
Well, so was Clyde Moberly.
Yeah, no, not as long as Clyde Moberly, but
Okay. So this is the certification of road construction, and it's got a whole list of the roads involved, so. I'll,
Just under a half mile.
Just under a half mile? Is that the same as this?
yeah,
Okay.
it's just, you have to seal on yours.
the county will be responsible for maintaining the roadway now once accepted in.
Correct, yes.
Okay, and so
Snowplow.
we have not been maintaining it up to
Correct,
this
we have
point.
not up until today.
Okay.
And you feel comfortable that we've met all the guidelines and,
Yes,
All right.
well, I'll make a motion that we move for approval to accept the certification of road construction for Eagle Trace Section 1, or is it all
yes, section 1.
Section 1?
Section 1. I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And that's all I have.
Okay, well, that's the end of a chapter, and we'll be beginning another one shortly.
How many dwellings are out there?
I'm sorry?
How many lots and two lots are there out there?
I couldn't tell you.
A lot of people can't.
Oh, yes, for
Exactly.
sure.
Exactly. That's what commissioners love to do, is make people happy.
That's right.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. Dan Burke. We're almost on time.
We're close enough. We had a position open up in our public health nurse position, and I am putting in a request to hire for that particular position.
And this would be an employee rather than a contractor.
Correct. County.
And was an
county
employee
funded.
prior?
Has been, correct.
It's not a new position, we're just
It's
filling.
not.
Public health nurse.
Move for approval to hire a public health nurse.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I have one more.
Go right ahead.
I'm gonna throw it on you. I just submitted this yesterday, so I was lucky to get put on the agenda today. But I need to transfer money in budget 9165, which is 340B clinical services, from line 22500, which is field equipment supplies. $25,000, and I need to transfer that to the same fund, 9165, line item 22130, which is medical and dental supplies to cover some of the medications and stuff that we have.
Okay, and you've got plenty of money to do that.
Correct.
Move for approval.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, and you're gonna take that to council tonight?
Tonight.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. There you go. Thank you. All right. Matthew. Yeah, I don't think this is very long.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Come with you in accompanying Brian Flugelman, who's a senior account executive with Central Square Technologies, with the topic of the NG 911 Vertex software that we've talked about previously. I believe the contract was provided to you a couple weeks ago for review. They produced a scope of work that we went through, had some clarifying questions which were answered, and we're ready to move forward if commissioners are okay in approving that contract. We're very excited about this project. Preble County 911 Dispatch has this same software. So Deputy Director Campbell and I went over there last week and spent some time in their 911 center, seeing how that software worked in a live environment, and it just renewed our excitement to change to this software. Anything you would like to say on your behalf? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just did. Yes, sorry.
Yes, thank you, Matthew. Thank you, commissioners. We're excited to be here, and we do continually appreciate the business and the support that we get from Wayne County, not just as a client of ours, but as a reference and good friends as well. So we're excited about this next project, and Matthew and Aaron have done an amazing job with your current system, and you should be proud to have them in charge.
And we are.
Absolutely. Well, more Aaron, really. Just kidding, Matthew.
That's twice today that we've just kind of went right over Matthew.
So yes, the contract or the agreement is signed by President Commissioner only via DocuSign. I do have a physical copy with me if we want to see it again. It really hasn't changed at all since it was presented to you a couple weeks ago. Very similar in same language that was utilized with the CAD project roughly 5 years ago. And I know Attorney Cross has had time to look it over if there's.
Any comments, Ron?
Very clean, very clean. As I indicated last week, not gonna second guess the scope of work. I figured that you guys know what you're asking for.
Correct.
But the contract itself, General Solutions Agreement is fine.
Well, I was a little concerned because I got the DocuSign and then I got an email from Matthew saying, wait a minute, don't sign that.
I'm not used to that coming ahead of the official vote, so I
Exactly.
didn't want you thinking it was something that had already been done and wanted to keep in good graces with everybody, so that's why I did that, so. Yeah, I didn't know it was gonna, be fired off quite that soon, so,
Very efficient.
yes, so.
Okay. So with that,
And we've already approved that council's approved the money, so I'll make a motion that we
sign
authorize the
contract.
president to sign the contract.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
And I'll try to find that on my computer and get that signed.
Erin got a copy of it again, so she could forward it to put it at the top of your list if you'd like.
That'd be great.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. We have a bid opening scheduled for 10:30. We're getting close. Okay. I don't trust myself with, a sharp object like that. So, do we actually need to wait until 10:30?
It is 10:30.
It's 10:31 now.
It's
If you can,
10:30.
if you can pull that clock back,
Well, it
1
depends on-
minute's not gonna be enough
depends
for
on
me.
what clock
Go
you
ahead.
look at. My watch says it's 10:29. All right. So it's bid opening time. Brad, you want to open those and pass them over to Ron?
First one is from Morelli.
So Steve, refresh our memories while we're opening these on what we're looking at. Didn't we put in kind of alternate?
Yeah, as I recall, there should be, this is the bid opening for the front plaza. And then there was an alternate, or there should be some language in there for landscaping and additional sidewalk work, should we want it.
Cubic foot or
Linear foot. I would
linear
think.
foot? Okay,
is that a mandatory alternate? Or was it an option?
option.
Second bid is from Thor Construction.
And Todd from LWC is here. He's our project engineer.
Okay.
After Ron has looked at these, we'll give them to him, and then the potential bidders will be able to look at these bids with him.
And we will take them under advisement.
Make a motion that we look at these and take them under advisement. Wait for recommendations.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
And Todd, you knew where you went before.
Watch your step there, Steve.
Trip over my
What else have you got for us?
Okay, I think you should have, I think you got an email advising that the federal court in Texas had blocked the Department of Labor's rules to increase the minimum salary threshold for employees to qualify for the administrative exception. We checked and we have 2 employees implicated by that. And this is just an FYI. I'm not suggesting anything need be taken at this point. We're at a crossroads where it appears that there's 2 possibilities, one of which may not be all that likely. That is that a federal circuit court will look at it and quickly determine either to uphold the decision of the district court, which found that the Department of Labor exceeded its jurisdiction when it enacted those strict minimal salaries without looking at the rest of what the Fair Labor Standards Act has in Section 107 or various sections as it relates to duties. So there's usually a test. You have a duties test, and you have a salary threshold, because the presumption is if you're giving them the duties but not giving them the salary, then they're really not administrative. But according to at least this Texas judge, who had actually heard the same type of issue under Obama's administration, he felt like it exceeded its jurisdiction, and in that case it became moot. A change of administration, and there's the expectation that might be what happens here. So again, we have 2 employees that were impacted by that, and I haven't had a chance to really get with Kim since this came down to see. I'm not aware of any intent to approach either of those 2 to make any adverse changes in compensation.
So continue on with how we originally were going to.
That's my expectation. Like I say, I haven't conferred with Kim, and so I think, I don't know how it might have been presented, but the 2 are the CASA program director and the officer of soil and water.
So
Director, I guess.
essentially, it would be a decision of council, right, on setting.
I mean, it's part. I did actually. Pam got me a little information. Nothing has been done to date as far as salary modification.
Right.
The only issue could be whether there was any assumptions made or representations made or expectations that went into the development of the proposed 2025 salaries for these 2 individuals. And I'm not aware of that, but I wouldn't know that. So that's, yeah, I guess it's an FYI. There's nothing, I'm not asking you to do anything. We've had on our list of to-dos for a while from Tim Smith is the county assessor, that he believes there's a vacancy that's been created by essentially one of the members of the Peterborough Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals, not able to attend for whatever reason, not terribly responsive when inquiries were made as to issues. Meetings made and scheduled to accommodate all calendars of participants, including this member. So he believes that this position has become vacant due to failures in performance and basically abandonment of position. So I prepared a suggested form of motion for you to consider, make that declaration of vacancy, then that gives him the go-ahead to start the process. I would envision that however it ends up, we're probably going to have a resolution that'll come back and somewhat pick up the history, if you will, of this particular vacancy, but address the unique situations that may be presented by the replacement. Because recall, there's the two general requirements, level 2 appraisal certification being usually the difficult one. And then if you find someone, they need to be a resident of the county. So commissioners have the ability to waive either or both of those requirements on the recommendation of the assessor. So right now, I think that both the business is to approve, is to pass the, introduce and pass the motion and declare the vacancy of Peterborough.
Should we read that out, or?
That's what I was planning. I was going to make the motion and just, yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I move that we declare the position of Samantha Bryant as a member of the Wayne County Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals vacant due to her failures in performance and her responsibilities as a member of that board.
I will second that motion. I've talked to Tim Smith, and it's making it very difficult for them to conduct business, and he feels it's necessary to move forward. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Now, I believe he does have somebody that, like,
I think he had a short list, I don't know.
Yeah,
if
that
it
It
is-
was missed, and I think each of them will require a waiver of one or the other, or both of those requirements, I believe so.
Yes, that's
that's all I
hard.
have.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I forwarded a final draft of the interlocal agreement between Wayne County and Union County for the joint coordination of this CASA program. There were some language issues that we tried to modify as it related to the contribution from Union County. I think Jeff indicated he's comfortable with going forward with it.
Yes.
How many copies I gave you, but I think you'll need four.
There's a bunch of them.
One for Union County, one for Wayne County, and one for each of the courts.
Okay. Are you ready to make a motion on this?
Yeah, I think we should move forward.
Yeah,
I think we've done our due diligence and.
And I think what we just thought that the last agreement was, 14 years old?
Right.
It's timed up.
Had an automatic 1-year renewal, so it obviously, the system isn't broken, but I think some of the jargon needed to be updated, fund numbers and what have you, and then the general approach to allocation of Union County's contribution in excess of their state allowance.
Right.
That was addressed a little more directly.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the interlocal agreement in reference to the CASA program director between Wayne County and Union County.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We need 4 copies. You just have one there. There's the other 3.
The only other thing I have would be, I'd hope to have just that one paragraph added, but to the help shelter contract, it's on my assistant's desk, I'll get that out today, but probably next meeting before you finish the signing.
Okay.
WR resolution number 2, I think we agreed last week would come on the 11th, not the 4th.
Yeah, we won't meet on the 4th, so it'll be on December 11th. Unfortunately, I'm going to Union County on the 6th to talk to their commissioners. I'd hope to be able to take that to them as a fait accompli, but we'll tell them that we're halfway through the process
And that's fine, they're really, I don't anticipate time compression being an issue as it relates to the obligations after the.
Okay.
I think both of you were there, but for the benefit of the public and on the record, summarizing what took place this morning at the Redevelopment Commission's meeting, we're in the first year of having to enact a spending plan for the Redevelopment Commission that would govern how municipal areas of expenditure that wait for TIF monies in 2025. The auditor was good enough to give us a pretty good summary of what he has on deposit in the various funds. The spending plan was developed pretty much with Jeff and that prior records. So that was the proposed draft spending plan was approved has to be submitted to DLGF on Gateway by the 1st of December. Basically reconcile the numbers and feel like we have a pretty good handle on what is there. And we will see where it goes from here. This is a first time we had to do it, so new state administration, so we don't know. This, I'm not sure what problem this was intended to fix, but at least
I'm sure there was one somewhere. in the
somewhere
state.
there was. I mean, somebody coughed in Marion County or the Donut counties and we're getting over the pneumonia, so. So that's all I have.
With that interlocal for Union County, should I take those down with me to when I meet with them on the 6th of December?
I think it'd be a good idea, yeah.
And then if
Has anyone had any contact with either of the two judges?
I have not.
I think there was some discussion that they were having
You wanna,
discussions between the two of them.
should we start here and see if we can get Judge Cox,
See,
Wayne County Judge Cox to sign it?
if that would be helpful, if there's any nuances we're not aware of, then we need to know them, because like I say, this is not, wasn't intended to invoke any really substantive changes in the way the program successfully operated for 15 years.
Okay, well, let's leave those with Bobby and I'll see if I can get with him and
Will do.
before the 6th of December. Okay. Anything else, Ron? Just again to talk a little bit about WUR. The commissioners have voted to withdraw from, if that's the right terminology, and then withdraw from WUR. We voted once to do that. We'll vote again then on the 11th of December. Is it 11th?
I think so.
And that starts a process because our withdrawal in and of itself dissolves the regional solid waste district because
Joint,
there will be no,
joint solid
there's
waste.
only one county. So that'll start negotiations between Wayne and County. We've already been talking to them about this for at least a year and probably closer to 2. We've also been talking to the City of Richmond and the Richmond Sanitary District about how we would approach this going forward, working with Richmond Sanitary District to try to increase and improve recycling in Wayne County. So we'll continue those discussions. We got an email from Pat Smoker yesterday, who is the director, and we're going to continue those discussions and try to start outlining a framework for that cooperation. So hopefully that will move forward fairly quickly. And I'll keep you in the loop. I'm sure this will require an interlocal agreement of some type between the Richmond Sanitary District and the county, if not also the city. So I'll keep you in the loop on that, Ron.
I will have the enforcement action ready for filing, hopefully by tomorrow, for the unsafe building in Garden City.
Okay.
And in the MOU with EDC, I'll have a draft, let you look at, and Val look at that.
Good. Good.
Decided to go forward with that, not stating some of the issues we talked about last week, new opportunities.
Good.
On that Garden City, we got a notice from RP&L yesterday that they disconnected the power to that building now, to that home, because the person living there circumvented the meter and was running an extension cord off the power side of the meter. So they pulled the power to the property.
Okay. Steve? What have you got?
Yeah, just a couple of updates on the ongoing projects. They continue to work on the generator project. They've been here about most every other day. The landscapers were here yesterday and finished up their part, I think. That has been completed.
I think in about 3 years, that'll look really nice.
We'll put Miracle-Gro on
There
there.
you go.
I think they look fine, just the way they are.
They do look good. They do look good. The landscaper did a really nice job. I really like the wall.
Yeah, the wall looks good, really.
Excellent.
I think it all looks good out there, so.
And
Rocky
then,
disagrees, but that's okay.
You disagree?
I do
Oh, gee. And then the ceiling lighting project at Coleman, Haley has moved as many as the events that we possibly could from Coleman over to the Expo Hall to open up a larger block of time so that they get in there. And I just got an email yesterday, and it looks like they're gonna start right after the 1st of December. So,
On the ceiling of Coleman,
Right.
are we gonna get our problem fixed
Yes.
before we put the ceiling up?
yes,
The leak?
The leak
Yes.
on our new roof?
they were very responsive to our call. And I have full confidence that this will be taken care of. And just a note then, remember on that project, the ceiling project, you'd set aside a little over $17,000 out of the naming rights fund. In the roof project, we didn't use any contingency, so that full amount is still there.
And we used everything out of the ARPA funds?
Yes,
Okay.
that was earmarked for that, yeah. Then again, the HVAC project in Expo is finished. We still waiting on the final pay app and the closeout documents to take that off the list, but it is up and functional. Obviously, we received the bids for the plaza this morning, and I didn't get a chance to see what the numbers look like, but we should have those back from LWC as far as a bid tab in the next couple days. The IT cabling project, they have sent us a matrix as to when they expect to start that, and the start date for actual work on site is December 2nd, and they estimated about a 70-day project on that. The Proxguard lock system, we received the quote back, and the number has been added to your project sheet here of $273,120. That is after we reevaluated the scope of the project from the original $375,000 cost. This would qualify as our special purchase because it's equipment that is compatible with our existing security equipment, and it'll tie into that. So, Jeff, what do you want to do next? You want council to, you want to discuss this
Take
further
it to
with
council
council?
tonight.
Yeah, maybe we can talk to them tonight about
Yeah,
it.
we had 250,000 set aside for this in ARPA.
Correct.
So,
Now, I've got and also in that set aside was for the x-ray machine, and we received some quotes, and I've asked Alan and Major Holt, who's the head of security, I've asked them a couple of questions to clarify on those quotes, and I've not gotten anything back from them yet. You wanna look at those quotes this morning, or you wanna wait till we?
let's get clarification.
Okay.
Obviously, we had 250,000 set aside for security initiatives, and that's not gonna be enough.
Correct.
So,
Right.
we need to consult with council, I would think, on how do we wanna go with the overage, and the quotes are between, what, 25 and 50,000 for the x-ray?
It's gonna look like that after they clarify a couple of the questions, but it looks like it's gonna be just a little under 30,000.
Okay. For the low bid.
Correct. And it's actually one they were recommending, but I did want some additional clarification on the equipment that didn't get added to it, see if we can reuse what we
It's
have.
already there.
Just make sure it's compatible with the new machine. Yeah. And that's all I have on the projects. A couple weeks ago, or actually last week, I think we talked about, remember you approved some cars to go to the auction. Those cars have been delivered, so they should be showing up on the website the next day or two, so we should get a pretty good sense of what that looks like what kind of response we're gonna get for those cars that you approved to go to the auction. Also, on that list that I gave you, last week, there was we need clarification as to the one car that the recommendation to give to a local volunteer fire department. In front of you is an email, at the very top. It's from Ryan Sams to Alan Moore, and it's a fleet committee, and that's the body of the email of where the request was made from. And we had indicated in the fleet management committee, we had indicated in our committee minutes that it was Webster, and I believe it should have been Williamsburg, because Webster wasn't part of the mix.
I wasn't crazy then when we kept, it was in the minutes
We
then,
did talk about it as Webster, but
Yeah, we did.
but it was supposed to be Williamsburg.
Yeah, because this is the
email, I saw that.
that started all of it, so, we're back to where we were.
So all we need is a motion to authorize it to transfer to
Correct.
Williamsburg
Fire.
Fire Department.
and do we need to make any findings before we can transfer it?
Deemed it no value to us, or?
It's been determined that it's, in our committee meeting, with the recommendation that comes to you, it's not a car that we would use in our fleet.
You just need the description.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
Do
S
you have
number was
that?
this?
I'll get that. And that. Thank you.
Bobby, do you have the Purdue extension contract? I don't think I've seen this before, have I? Did the council use this to budget for the extension office? Do you know?
I don't know. He just brought that in Monday. It's the same one we use every year.
It's the same contract, but
Well,
did the number change?
no.
No? Huh. Can you, Debbie, can you tell me what the budget number is in the extension office for contractual?
Contractual professional, the account number is 33,200.
No, I mean, can you tell me how much is budgeted for
How much is
2025?
I'll definitely know.
Thank you. If it's different from what this
Well, our
contract is
contract is we
for, I
need to
think we need to
transfer.
talk to council first.
Yeah. Can I see that?
So the extension agents are employees of Purdue University, and this is the contract that we pay. We don't pay all three salaries, but we pay a substantial amount, two of them.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
It is, our car number is S85, and it is a 2016 Dodge Charger.
I'm sorry, that's what?
S85.
2016 Dodge Charger.
Yes.
All right, with that being said, I'll make a motion that we transfer S85, a 2016 Dodge Charger to Williamsburg Fire Department. I almost said Webster.
I know, I thought you were gonna say Webster.
I don't know why I keep saying Webster.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And the last thing I have, just an information bit, our three weights and measures officers are completing their continuing education training today. And this is required for them to keep their certification to be able to perform weights and measures activities.
So then, when do you get certified?
I don't need to be,
You don't need to be, but don't you fill in sometimes?
not for weights and measures. I do on
Just on the
building
inspections?
inspections, yeah.
You just seemed so knowledgeable about weights and measures, I just assumed you were
Well, I need
certified.
to be the same, up to,
Yeah.
so that I can talk intelligently on the subject.
Well, if you need to go to certification training, just let us know.
Thanks.
Happy to support you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
That's all you have?
It is.
Okay, probably should, let Brad know that the clerk was so impressed with the repairs to the Oliver P. Morton statue that she, paid for a new sign with biographical information about Governor Morton. And the Building and Grounds Department then provided a surplus piece of marble that matches the floor. So that sign was mounted to a piece of marble that is now now on display by the Oliver P. Morton statue. So it looks really good. He's got
Got all the
all of
fingers
his
and-
fingers and toes, and you know, he's ready for another 100 years in our courthouse.
Now that we've done all that, somebody will probably knock into it and crush it.
Don't
Well,
say
don't be so
that.
negative. Come on. Yes, ma'am.
Were you wanting 24 or 25?
25.
It's 132,680.
132,680, which is exactly how much this contract is for. Thank you. All right.
I believe it's the same as last year.
Is it the same as last year?
No, last year was 128,805.
I figured it goes up.
Yeah, we know we have enough money in that fund, so I'll
We
move
do.
for approval to, is that all of our signatures or just yours?
County government official, just mine.
Move for approval, with the president's signature of the contract with Purdue Extension.
I will second that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, I'll figure out how many places to sign this in. And get that signed in just a minute. Don't lose track of those, Bobby.
I won't.
Scanner quotes.
You guys just discuss that, you got questions still.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
We did?
That'd be X-ray.
X-ray machine.
Okay, that's the X-ray
Scanner,
machine, not the
yeah,
scanner.
I can see the confusion.
I was thinking
He's
of
having a senior
scanner
moment. That's
in
okay.
respect to the animal
Scanner.
control
Oh,
function.
the scanner, the
Exactly, but we are
chip
working
readers or
on-
whatever they're.
We are working on ordering those.
Yeah, if I get those X-ray questions answered before tonight, do you want to talk about that tonight?
Yeah, we might as well, if we can have that information. So tonight, I will be discussing with council information about Ready 2. And we are in need of signing a letter for the Indiana Economic Development Corporation that would commit us to providing matching dollars if they approve a Ready grant. So the really interesting part of this program is that IEDC is willing to look at the money that the county and the city have committed under the HELP program, and in particular the Main Street Revitalization Program, which is $1 million from the city and $1 million from the county. And then also the money that we have committed for blight elimination. which is a total of $780,000, split between the county edit and consolidated edit. And then request for an additional $1 million from the county and the county edit and consolidated edit for expansion of the Main Street revitalization program and another $200,000 for the blight elimination. So a total match, additional match from the county of $1.2 million. That would go along with the $1,780,000 that we've already committed, along with the $1 million that the city has already committed. And the benefit to us would be about $3.98 million in new money from the IEDC and Lilly through the READY program. So a minimal match because we're able to use the commitments we've already made that are in process under the HELP program plan, but we'll be able to substantially increase the dollars available locally for redevelopment and blight elimination. So we're talking to council about that tonight. We already approved that last week. So any further discussion on that issue?
No, I don't think so. See what council does tonight.
I absolutely hope that we're able to accommodate this. It would be a huge step for us, and most of those dollars, the new dollars, would be from the state. Let's see, seems like there was one other thing.
No hotel increase.
We did
Got two of them.
two of them, okay?
First one's from the Wayne County Assessor's Office. Increased $154 a night for 3 nights for one person at the Hyatt in Indy.
Move for approval.
Second, any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carries.
The second one is for the Commissioner's Office, 3 nights for $149 a night, 1 room at the Sheridan.
Denied.
I can't approve that.
Oh, this one's for Aaron.
It's not for me.
Aaron's.
Oh, I definitely can't approve that. Move for approval.
Second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carries. Do you have?
I have claims and minutes if you're ready for that.
Yeah, let's go ahead while I think through whether we've got anything else.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the Commissioners dated November 13th, 2024.
I second that motion. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, motion carries.
A second here. Claims. Minutes. They're leaving my area. All right, make a motion to approve the claims, following claims. Veterans dated 11/18, MasterCard dated 11/18, Dunflex and garnishments dated November 15th, federal payroll taxes dated November 15th, payroll dated November 15th, Centerpoint dated 11/14, vet paid, C-vet paid 11/19. What that? Yeah, it just says C-vet. Bunch of towns on there, I don't know what that,
Is that the CVAT one?
yes, what exactly is that?
commercial vehicle excise tax.
Okay.
There you go.
Move for approval on that one. It just said CVET, I didn't know what that meant, so. And then, regular claims dated, 11/20/24. Move for approval.
I second the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bobby, anything else?
Nope.
Steve? Ron? Debbie? Anything else? All right. Brad?
Good.
If not, we're adjourned.